friends, welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to Code Katas episode 29. If you're new to the show, you can check out github.com/codinggarden/code-katas. You can see all of the solutions from past episodes, all of the katas that I solved tonight. I'll push the solutions up there as well. If you have suggestions for katas, you can open an issue and I'll try to solve them. Cool. Let's say hello to all the people in the chat. Hello, Andre. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Bohan. Hello, Chalar. Was that how you pronounce your name? I forgot. But they have a question. Try this console log. I think we'll try it because it's fun. Hello, Harsh. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Hexception. And then Bohan wants me to explain that console log that was mentioned above. We'll try to do that. Hello, Tato. Welcome to the stream. First time live. That's great. And hello, Willy Lump Lump. I was talking to you on Discord earlier, so that's great. Welcome to the stream. Hello, John Doe. Hello, Nicholas. Hello, Alka. Yes, there's a new intro video. I need to work on the audio, so like I made all of the music, but it's a little muddy. It could be mastered a little bit better, but yeah, new intro. I'll keep it. It'll be iterative. That's not the final new intro. Hello, Miguel. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Mostafa. Hello, Angelo. Hello, Guile, who says it's 2 a.m. in Spain. Was going to bed, but then I went live. Okay, well, I hope you do get some good sleep when you do go to bed. Hello, Tom. Hello, Terminal. Hello, Raul. Welcome to the stream. Terminal says, glad to catch you live. I'm glad you're here too. Welcome. Alka is saying it should be recursive. But the intro should be? What should be recursive? I don't know. You should let me know. But, so Mike's in the chat. He reminds me, I was recording some tutorials the other day, and he actually did a super chat during one of the tutorials, and then I was going to edit it out, but I actually didn't edit it out. So if you look at, I think is it this one? I think it's this one. It's in there somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. So Mike, you're famous. Your super chat made it into my tutorial. Congrats. Oh, Alka says the intro. I said it would be iterated, but it should be recursive. Okay, I understand. Sort of. Hello, Nessie. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Ryan. Good evening from is that North Carolina? Welcome. Hello, Jordan, who says, what's up, CJ? New guy here. Been watching your YouTube stuff for a while now. You're teaching me a ton. That's great. Yeah, so I actually don't have any katas picked out for tonight, but if you do have any suggestions, feel free to throw them in the YouTube chat. If not, I'll maybe just pick a couple. We can vote on which ones we will do. I'll only be streaming for about 2 hours tonight because I do got to go somewhere. But that's 2 hours of pure kata awesomeness. And hello, Alex, who says it's 3 a.m. in Greece. But of course, they're watching the stream. And hello, Emery. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's see what we got. We're going to start with easier ones. We're going to start with 7Q. This one's called Pokemon Go. In Pokemon Go, an easy way to increase your XP level is to evolve the Pokemon you've caught. Okay. Every time you catch a Pokemon, you will also receive some candy. The candy is limited to the Pokemon type. For example, a Pidgey will give you Pidgey candy, and once you have enough, you can spend it to evolve Pokemon. Okay. What is the problem, though? Surplus Pidgeys can be transferred to Professor Willow in exchange for 1 Pidgey candy. You won't get the Pidgey back. Okay, so I think we're doing some sort of calculation. This one seems like it's not written very well. Let's see. So if you have 2 Pidgeys and 23 Pidgey candy, you can evolve 1 Pidgey for 12 Pidgey candy and have 11 Pidgey candy left, but you received 1 Pidgey candy for evolving the first Pidgey, making the 12 you need to evolve the second. You'll end up with 1,000 XP. So I think we're calculating XP here. Let's just look at the function in the tests. Okay, so we have a number of Pidgeys. We have the amount of candy that we currently have. And ultimately what we need, so our job, create a function that will take 2 integers as arguments, a number of Pidgeys and an amount of Pidgey candy. It should return the maximum XP gained from evolving the highest possible number of Pidgeys. Okay. And remember, take into account the extra Pidgey candy gained from transferring evolving Pidgeys. That, I think, makes sense. So you get 500 XP for every evolving. Okay, that's cool. Maybe we'll do that one. We'll keep it there. But I think we'll vote on it. Playing with sets. Sets or objects are new in JavaScript. What? So I have this sorted by positive feedback, but it seems like the ones at the top, I don't know, maybe they have some artificial votes. They don't seem to be worded very well. No offense to the people that created them, but yeah, let's see. A set lets you store unique values of any type. It comes with useful methods like add, clear, has, but some set operations are missing, like subset and superset. Interesting. If every member of set A is also a member of set B, then A is said to be a subset of B, written as A subset B. Equivalently, we can write B is a superset of A. Okay, so for example, 1 and 3 is a subset of this. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4 is a subset of this because it's the same. Yep. This is a superset because this is included in that. And I guess this is both a subset and a superset. Cool. So we have to create two functions. We have to figure out, is it a superset or is it a subset? Very interesting. Let's pick like one more and then we'll vote on which 7Q we solve. John is a hacker. Why are these so hard to understand? Okay. John is a hacker. He always believed knowledge can change the destiny. I don't like it. I can't even read it to understand it. We're gonna keep moving. I guess this. Come on. Okay. Instead of sorting by positive feedback, I am going to sort by popularity. Okay. Let's look at this one. The coupon code. Here, at a glance, this looks like I'll be able to understand it. So your online store likes to give out coupons for special occasions. Some customers try to cheat the system by entering invalid codes or using expired coupons. Your mission, write a function which verifies that a coupon is valid and the coupon is not expired. A coupon is no more valid on the day after the expiration date. Okay, so we're given some stuff and we have to say whether the coupon is valid or not. I like it. Okay, let's do a quick straw poll. We'll figure out which one of these three we're going to do. We've got Pokemon Go, and I'll link to it. We've got playing with sets, and I'll link to it. Let's go to the JavaScript. And we've got the coupon code. Improve spam prevention. Go! There's the poll. Okay. Let's catch up on the chat while people are voting. And I got a super chat. I'll read it when we get to it. Let's see. Let's see, can I make this a little bit bigger? Little bit. Hello, Emery. I think we said hello. Hello, Suramathori. Suriamuthri. Let's take a quick stretch. Hello. Come on. There we go. Hello, MMO Jib from Saudi Arabia. That's great. Andre is asking if anyone knows the Web Audio API. I've used it a little bit. I've created like a soundboard on this channel before, but the only part of the Web Audio API we used was to play in like a sound clip. I've never really done anything with like oscillators or sound generation. Hello, Mr. Turble. Mr. Turble says, I'm so glad I'm not the only one who gets frustrated at the wording of these. So the thing is, I usually sort by most completed, because if the most people have completed it, that means at least the instructions were easy enough to understand. It could be that these are potentially easier in this category, but typically when I sort by most completed, I can understand what these things are saying. But some of these other ones who may not have been solved by a lot of people and haven't gotten a lot of feedback, they can be a bit harder to read. So yeah. Yeah, in Terminal saying, I find on Code Wars half the challenge is understanding what they have written. And yeah, I mean, that's really a challenge in programming in general. Like, you have to take some business requirements and turn that into an actual thing. So yeah. So this is the real world. That's what we're saying here. We're in the real world right now. And a 10 euro super chat from Guile, who says, you deserve this. I love your streams. Learning a lot. Keep it going. Thank you so much, Guile. Hello, Daniel Garden. Welcome to the stream. IC Killer YT is asking, what is the name of the extension I use to console log results? It's called Quokka. Quokka. Quokka.js. And we'll show it in a second whenever we start on one of these. Hello, Brian. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Amy. There's only one vote for Pokemon Go. Let's take a look. Okay, there's a couple more now. Coupon code is only beating Subset by 1 vote. So if anybody wants to attempt to vote here, I'll share the is this the voting URL? Let me just copy this again. Vote. Oh geez, that's not good. I don't want the redirect link. I want the actual link. There we go. So if you're watching but you're not voting, maybe you should vote. Yeah, and Andre is talking about making an audio spectrum using a fast Fourier transform library. That would be interesting. Hello, Felix. Welcome to the stream. Anon, who says, always supporting. Thank you, Anon. Hello, Gabriel. Welcome to the stream. Exception says, time to stop writing shaders for a game engine and watch you for 2 hours. Cool. Glad you could tune in. Andre, we are just going to be solving code katas tonight, so let's try not to talk about the web audio API. Maybe we'll save that for another time. Hello, Mustafa, who says, thank you, CJ, for your hard work. I am learning a lot from you. Glad to hear it. Oh, Bohan is, I guess, relating to the trying to understand a code challenge to trying to read documentation. I've seen the MongoDB documentation. It's okay if you know what you're doing, which is honestly not a good thing because documentation should be for everyone. But yeah, I can get where you're coming from. Jordan is asking, what's the extension for the file size beside my imports? It's called import cost. Guile is saying, I don't know about YouTube, but if this were maybe Twitch, I could have Nightbot answering most asked questions. That's a good point. And I think we'll do that. Maybe I'll do that on stream eventually because those are some common questions that get asked, which is not a bad thing. I'm happy to answer them. But what extension do I... Yeah, those 2 extensions people ask about a lot. People ask what break timer I'm using. What keyboard am I using? We could have a bot just answers all of those. Cool. All right. Still coupon code is only winning by 1 vote. I don't know. Should I do it? Is that fair? How about if I vote for playing with sets, then we need a tiebreaker. I'm gonna do this. And I'm not a robot. I promise. I'm not a robot. That's a bus. That's a bus. All right, it's a tie. I can't do it until the tie is broken. Amy is saying, who needs Nightbot when you have an Alka? It's kind of true, but also Alka is a human being that has other duties than just answering questions in my chat. Oh, and he has the bot called AlkaBot. Cool. Maybe I'll flip a coin for which one of these to do. Let me find a coin. But maybe it'll be voted for by the time I get back. There's a tiebreaker. Playing with sets. I'm going to flip a coin anyways to see what happens. I'll probably still just do playing with sets. Okay. I know you can't see this, but you're going to have to trust me. Heads for playing with sets, tails for coupon code. Played as it lies, it's a heads. Cool. We'll save these others for another time, but for now, we're going to figure out playing with sets. So I'm going to bring this down locally. I'm going to create a file with this name. Let's bring in the functions. Bring in our example tests. Let's change these to console.logs. And then we will, wait just a second. We'll start up Quokka.js. Cool, so first we're gonna work on this is a subset of, and our very first test is just testing one set against itself. So A1 is a set with the values, hello Oliver, welcome to the stream. Let's see. Physical currency, yes. Yes, okay. So A1 is a set that has the values 1, 2, and 3 inside of it. And if we pass in A1 twice, so we have the exact same set, it should return true because technically it is a subset. Because it's the exact same. So, and we want to check, I believe we want to check if S1 is a subset of S2. Is that what we're checking? Yeah, the text to the right is a little bit confusing because ultimately I think our function just returns true or false. Yeah, so is subset of return gets 2 arguments and returns true if 2D set contains all elements of the first one. Okay, so we're checking if S2 is a subset of S1. That's what we're doing. Okay. Let's just leave ourselves a note because it's a little bit confusing. Return true if S2 is a subset of S1. I'm gonna go turn my air conditioner off because it's like really loud, but I'll be right back. You stay where you are. I'm back. Okay, so we return true if S2 is a subset of S1. So I think essentially what we need to do is iterate over S2. And for every value in S2, we check and see if it is in S1. And if it's true for all of them, then it is a subset. So iterate over S2. Check if current value is in S1. If not, return false. But then if we make it to the end of the entire iteration and we haven't returned yet, then we will return true. Should be easy enough. Okay, so how do we iterate over a set? Let's look it up. So on MDN, let's look up set. We could probably do like a for of or a for in loop. Looks like there's a lot of set stuff in here. None of these are the one that I want. Let's see what else it mentions. So it has useful methods like add, clear, and has. Let's search for set has. Here we go, the set prototype. So let's look at the set object to see everything that it has, not not what it has inside of it, but what functions does it have. So it has add, clear, delete, entries for each, has, and values. I think we could probably just use, well, the trick is, though, we want to return inside of it, so we technically do want to use a for loop. And it implements iterator, which means that we should be able to do a for in or a for of. I forget which one. Of. Let's try it. Okay, so iterate over set2. So we're going to say for item in S2. And we're going to do our check if the current value is in S1. So we'll say if S1.has item, and if it does not, so actually this is here. So if it does not have that item in S2, then we return false. I want to do let here. Actually, I could probably do const because we're not modifying it. So for every item in the S2 set, if the S1 doesn't have it, we return false because that means that S2 is not a subset. But if we make it through that entire for loop, we should get true because it is a subset. So now A is contained in A, that returns true. A2 is a subset of A1, so A2 has the values 3, 2, 1, so that's a subset. B has the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so technically it is a subset of the set with 1, 2, 3. And then this one, X, has the values 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So because this doesn't have the value 3 in it, it is not a subset of A. So this should return false. I think. So, I mean, This should return false because X, like, yeah, well, yeah, like once we get to the value 4, if we say S1, this one has 4, should say no, which should return false. Let's log the item. I could be doing that totally wrong. Let's comment all of these out so only this last one runs. Oh, no, so let item of my set. Does it have to be a let instead of a const? No. This code is like never being reached. S1, 1, 2, 3, log. S2, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. But then right here, it never reaches that line of code. It's white. Could this be an issue with Quokka? Let's see. I'm just going to run the code with node. Is subset of. This should return false. But it doesn't. They always just all return true. Oh, I'm doing in. I need to do of. Oh, geez. There we go. That was my mistake. So, okay. So for let item of S2. And then here we can log item. So we can see that the moment we see that S1 doesn't have 4, we return false. We should be good to go now. Cool. Awesome. So that's working. We can write this another way though. So, and let's get rid of that. instead of doing a for of, we could use the every function that's on the array prototype. Because if every item returns true, then we return true. But if every item doesn't, then it'll return false. And it does this sort of like short circuiting that we're doing here. Because the cool thing about this is the moment we see a value that S1 doesn't have, it just immediately returns false. It doesn't have to look at all of them. But to do that, I would need to turn it into an array, which I guess I could spread it, or we could do dot entries or dot values. Let's see. Let's actually just spread it here. So here's another way to do this. So if we have a function is subset of, takes in S1 and S2, we want to return an array with S2 in it. So we're spreading S2 into an array. We want to say if every item, and we'll say S1 dot has item. Like that. Let's take a quick stretch. Whew. So this should do exactly the same thing, and we should still get true, true. Oh, this one gets false. Oh, man. Oh, because we don't want every. Because if the set on the right-hand side is longer, then it doesn't technically need to have that. Okay. So I think we go in the reverse. So we spread S1, and we make sure that S2 has all of the items. Because that way, even if it has more, it should still work. So we get true, 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 false. Cool. I think that's the way to go. All right, let's catch up on the chat, and then we'll implement is superset of. Yeah. Flip a Bitcoin. Flip a V-Bucks. Oh, man. Yeah, Oliver has arrived in time to suggest that I write everything on one line. I mean, technically, this is a one-liner. I did it. As is tradition, right? Oliver's saying, I think I got the wrong way around. I think I figured that out with this one, which means that technically this should be S1 and this should be S2. Now they're both doing the same thing. Hello, Akin from Turkey. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Alka caught it, for of. I mentioned, I was like, is this a for in or is this a for of? I saw it was a for of, but I wrote for in. Oh, well. Bohan has a tip. Of for values, in for props. And I want the values. Cool. Oh, cool. Mr. Terrible says, I started pre-commenting like you do for whatever I'm making, and it has helped me solve problems much faster. Thanks for the tip. You're very welcome. Yeah, I mean, typically, this, you can call this pseudocode. Basically, we're thinking through the problem before we actually code it. And technically, like, the comments that I wrote are very generic, because you can see my comment doesn't say, do a for of over S1. And I don't say like called the .has method. It's just like very generic. It's like it's abstracting one level above the actual code you would write to try and say it in more human words, and then we try to convert those words into code, because technically those comments apply to this method as well, even though this is doing it slightly differently. Andre, this is a Code Kata stream. We're not really talking about Web Audio API tonight, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. Yeah, Angelo caught it. So B can't be a subset of A if B length is greater than A's. So it's not a subset, it's a superset, but it... Wait, you're right. One, two, three is contained in. I don't know. This one, honestly, like, even though it's not that confusing, it's kind of confusing. MMOjib is asking, doesn't set have a filter? It might, yeah. Let's look at the docs. I haven't really worked with sets that much. Here it says that it doesn't. You would probably have to turn it into an array first to get the filter function. Excuse me. Brian is asking, what's the command I do to comment a line of code out? So this works in most text editors, but if your cursor is just on a line, if you do command / it'll comment it out. But then if you have multiple lines of text selected and you do command / that comments out multiple lines. But it's nice because your cursor, I don't even have to select the whole line. Your cursor can be there and then it will comment the line out, which is cool. Brian asks, what's the difference between in and of? I think Bohan mentioned it earlier, but of will give us the values. So in this case, we want the values, and then in will give us the properties. And so you can use a for of or a for in loop like on an object, and for in will give you the property names. For of, I think will give you the property values. That may or may not be right, but something like that. Oliver's still saying I'm doing it the wrong way around. Maybe, did you catch up with my fix? I don't know. It could be wrong. I should probably throw this one into Code Wars and see if it comes back. Oh yeah, we could technically do array.from, Guile is mentioning. So instead of spreading the array, we could also do array.from s1, like so. And that technically should do the same thing. Cool. Oliver is saying array.prototype.every.call is the OG way, though. It is, but in modern JavaScript, this is probably the way that most people would write it. But yeah, that's another way to do it. So array.prototype.every.call, and we pass in s1 as the first parameter, and prototype. There we go. Array.prototype.every.call. We're calling it on s1 to see if s2 has all of those items, and that fails. Why does that fail? Why is this yellow? So the this arg is the first parameter, and then any number of arguments. Oh, the argument array? Do I need to pass this in as an array? Is that how call works? No. I don't know. We need to keep moving though, because I don't have that long to stream tonight. Yeah, so we use the spread operator. Hello, Kevin. Welcome to the stream. Comment on line 1 is the wrong way around. So return true if S1 is a subset of S2. Yeah. Cool. Bohan is asking, why is Quokka not complaining that I declared 3 functions with the same name? Because I'm using function expressions. Not expressions, function declarations. And ultimately what happens is the last declaration of that function is the one that wins. So that's typically how I do Code Wars, is like I'll just copy and paste the function, but the last declaration is ultimately the one that's going to get called on the lines down below. So right now you can see that all of these have white on them because Quokka isn't even touching that code. It's only touching the last one that was specified. And I don't know why my every.call is not working. We're going to comment that one out. Yeah, so Alka mentions call works just like calling a function regularly with the context as the first argument. So I think I did that. However, I'm getting true on the last one when I should be getting false. See, the last one should give me false. Yeah, so I don't know why that's not working. Hello, Matcha. Welcome to the stream. Oliver's asking, or saying, you can build a superset of S1 and S2 and assert it as the same as S2. Okay. I don't know if I get that, but I'm going to keep moving. So I think the the subset function is good to go. I prefer this one, I think. That's my favorite. Okay, but let's now work on is superset of. And a superset. I mean, I guess, is this the opposite? Or we want to make sure that every value, I think, is this the case where we want to make sure that every value is in there? Let's clarify our definition of a superset. If every member of set A is also a member of set B, then A is said to be a subset of B. Okay, so here we're saying, is S1 a subset of S2? That was the first problem that we solved. Equivalently, we can write B is a superset. Okay, tell me about the superset. You didn't tell me about the superset. B contains A. So the next one is if this has all the values in here. Yeah, I think Alka, like that's what I was thinking. Like if you swap the two, then it just reverses the logic. So technically, can we just call, so let's say return is subset of, and then reverse the value. So we pass in S2, S1. Is it that easy? True, 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 false. Done. We are done. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and submit this one because I've spent way too long on it. Okay, so there's our subset function, and then there is our superset function. Sample tests. Okay, attempt. Hey, we did it! I'm struggling today. Here we go. Hello, ATD, and I think you're right. So call and apply are very similar. Apply will take an array of values, whereas call, you can pass in any number of values and it passes those into the function. That, I believe that's correct. Chalara is saying coupon code Kata would not have caused any of these problems. You're probably right, but this was fun. Cool. Best 6 lines of code ever. Cool. Here we go. Oh, so for building a superset. Yeah, so create a set that has all of the values of X and Y. Cool. Yeah, Peejoe is saying, I don't think, and hello, Peejoe, I don't think I've ever actually used a set in JavaScript outside of interviews. Yeah, me neither. There are other use cases, and really, I mean, I've used it in solving code katas before, but anything you can do with a set, you can sort of do with like an object. Like the dot has property, you can just check for a property on an object. And an object won't let you have duplicate properties, just like a set won't. So, I mean, there are a lot of things that can be solved with an object instead of a set. Hello, Andrew Lane. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I miss coding train streams too. He mentioned on the Slack that he's still working on his new space, but I think eventually he'll be streaming again. Cool. All right, let's move on to a 6Q. And I need to copy this, add it to my README before I forget. Okay. All right, we're 45 minutes in. We got 2 more katas to go. Let's find ourselves a 6Q kata. Go into 6. Weird string case. Tortoise Racing. Rectangle into squares. Camel case method. Write a function to weird case that accepts a string and returns the same string with all even index characters in each upper word uppercased and all odd index character in each word lowercased. The indexing just explained is 0 base, so the 0 index is even. That sounds fun. Tortoise Racing. 2 tortoises named A and B must run a race. A starts with an average speed of 720 feet per hour. Young B knows she runs faster than A and furthermore has not finished her cabbage. This is the whole like racing thing. Like if one goes at one speed, will they ever like meet up? I think. So when she starts, at last, she can see that A has a 70 feet lead, but B's speed is 850 feet per hour. How long will it take B to catch A? More generally, given 2 speeds, V1 and V2, and a lead, how long will it take B to catch A? This is kind of confusing. I think I know what it's asking. Like, one is ahead, but it's traveling so fast. Another one's behind. It's traveling faster. How long will it take for this one to do that? However, it's worded very weirdly, but I mean, we'll keep it in mind. A rectangle into squares. The drawing below gives us an idea of how to cut a given true rectangle into squares. True rectangle meaning that the 2 dimensions are different. Okay. Can you translate this drawing into an algorithm? I don't know. Can I? You'll be given 2 dimensions, a positive integer length and a positive integer width. Why on earth would they abbreviate the words length and width? That makes no sense. You will return an array or a string with the size of each of the squares. I don't like this one. I'm sorry, I just don't. Write a simple camel case method. For strings, all words must have their first letter capitalized without spaces. I mean, I feel like I've done one like that before, but it seems doable. Let's keep looking. The supermarket queue. Count characters in your string. Mexican wave. Okay, there is a queue for the self-checkout tills at the supermarket. Your task is to write a function to calculate the total time required for all the customers to check out. Someone from the UK probably wrote this because it says a queue. We call it a line in the US. There's a line at the self-checkout. Okay, so our input is customers, an array of positive integers representing the queue. Each integer represents a customer, and its value is the amount of time they require to check out. Okay, in a positive integer, the number of checkout tills. The function should return an integer, the total time required to check out everyone in the queue. Okay, so please look at the examples and clarifications below. This is kind of like parallel processing in a way. So when there's only one line or like one self-checkout thing, it's going to be the sum total of everything because you have to wait for everyone to finish. But when there are 2 lines, it's going to be basically everyone broken up, like one after another. They go into different lines, and then the largest sum of the 2 lanes. Yeah, and then in this scenario, 2 goes to one, 3 goes to another one, and then 10 goes to the one that 2 was going to, and so that gives us a total of 12. This one's interesting. Let's do that one. Count characters in your string. I also feel like I've done like one like this before, and I feel like we do this all the time, but it's always a fun one. Make an object where the keys are the letters in the string and the values are a number of occurrences of that letter. The Mexican wave. Okay. It is not known as the Mexican wave. That's just the wave. What? Our task. In this simple kata, your task is to create a function that turns a string into a Mexican wave. You'll be passed a string and must return that string in an array where an uppercase letter is a person standing up. Oh, I see. So the capital letter is basically traveling through the word. So it starts off with an like a all lowercase word. The first item is the first letter is uppercased. The second item is the second letter is uppercased until it reaches the end. That one's interesting too. Okay, let's vote. What is this, a 7? This is a 6. So our options are the Mexican wave, which I do not agree with the name. It should just be called the wave. Here we go. The wave. Another option is count characters in your string. This is gonna be an easy one. I could definitely do it with one line of code. Not that you should, but I could. Count characters in a string. The supermarket queue. This one also seemed fun. And I feel like again, I feel like I've done camel case before, but I don't know. We're on episode 29. We're bound to repeat a kata eventually. But technically, if I just did harder katas, we wouldn't repeat katas. But I'm trying to keep the show fairly beginner friendly and also not try to work too hard. I don't know. There's a lot of options, but hopefully don't vote for the empty ones. Okay, if you vote for the empty ones, I'll just stop streaming. That'll be a sign to me that you don't want me to stream anymore. Okay, here we go. There we go. Let's look at the results. Words, words, words. Words are hard. I agree. I don't know how this one goes. What if you have both 0 and 0 as members? Oh. Oh? I don't know. ATD is asking, does YouTube have an equivalent to Twitch where you can directly support the broadcaster through a paid subscription? They do. It's called members, but I don't have enough subscribers to qualify for it. I'm actually a member of the coding train. I don't think that's the right one. Become a channel member. Manage channel memberships. Channel membership eligibility. Minimum eligibility requirements. So, your channel must have more than 30,000 subscribers to be able to have the member paid subscription thing. Though, which I don't think this is as fair, especially because like I stream fairly often. Gaming channels must have more than 1,000 subscribers to turn on members. I think YouTube is just behind the times. They don't know what I'm putting out there. I'm just a guy. But eventually, we're halfway there. We're close to halfway there, and eventually you can support me directly on YouTube, which will be nice. But look, 14,246 subscribers. Almost halfway there. But yeah, I need 30,000 subs to be able to enable that. Hello, SN96. Welcome to the stream. Words are hard. They're so hard. Yeah, and I do have super chats enabled, which is nice. And I do have Patreon, which is cool too. But I think the thing about having that join button on YouTube just makes it so much easier for people, because a lot of people already have like Google Wallet set up or Google Pay set up, and they don't have to go through another service. But you know, ain't no thing. Jordan says, "Screw math at this time of night." Yeah. Harsh is asking, are there any other good websites like Code Wars? ATD mentions Code Signal, which used to be Code Fights. Hacker Rank is another one. There's also Project Euler. What else? Yeah. ATD says, I admittedly find the Code Wars UI a little hard to navigate. It definitely takes some getting used to. Peejoe is saying, HackerRank is cool because it does efficiency checks too, but you might have to pay points to see the test cases, which is annoying. I've actually done HackerRanks as part of a coding challenge when I applied to a company. And yeah, that's the interesting thing about it, is it basically shows how fast your solution runs compared to other solutions, which is cool. Harsh has to go to complete a college assignment. Good luck, Harsh. Yeah, Guile is saying, I didn't know it was called the Mexican wave. I always just called it the wave. It might have originated in football, but I have no idea. ATD did a super chat, but let's catch up. John says, I can't vote, hate reCAPTCHA. You know, the trick I've found with reCAPTCHA is if you mess up, just keep doing it. So it looks like Supermarket Q is going to win, but let's say, I'm not a robot. I mean, this one isn't so hard, but really, you just try, and then usually you get it right, because I think it's not checking if you're exactly right, if it's checking if you're mostly right as other humans have been right. Because I don't think it even knows, because these are just like Google Street Images pictures. Yeah, that's a good call. And hello, Merchan, but they mentioned it would be more interesting if it asked the minimum amount of time possible instead of the alternating the sum, which is essentially what's happening. Like, one goes here, one goes there, one goes here. But yeah, the super chat went away, but I will look it up and give you a shout out. There it is. ATD with the $5 super chat. Here's my fake subscription until we can get you a real one. Thanks so much for your time and willingness to teach us. You're very welcome. Thank you, ATD. Brian is asking, in the future, could you maybe consider doing a video on big O notation? Yes, I would absolutely consider that, because I've talked about it sometimes on when I'm solving code katas, because it like absolutely applies to our solutions and deciding like what solutions we decide to come up with. Willie Lumplup is saying, you'll have 30k subs before this year is out. I hope so. What is it, September, October, November, December? It's pushing it. Like, this channel is fairly low-key. Not a lot of people know about it. I feel like it's going to take a while. Cool. All right, let's do it. We're going to do the supermarket queue. I think, like, that was the winner, right? Yeah, with 18 votes, by far the majority winner. Supermarket queue. All right, so let's bring this down locally. New file, supermarketqueue.js. We will bring in the function, and then bring in the test. And to what Merchan mentioned, I think it is alternating, but it may not be. It may actually be whichever one finishes first, then that's the one that they go to. That actually makes it a little bit trickier. Because yeah, in the scenario of 2, 3, 10, 2 finishes first, so 10 would have gone there. Yeah. So there's only one queue serving many tills. So a till is like a cashier, like a place where the person will check out. The order of the queue never changes, and the front person in the queue, the first person, proceeds to a till as soon as it becomes free. Okay, so there it is, Mirchan. I think it actually is what you mentioned. The queue would be more interesting if it asked the minimum amount of time possible instead of the alternating sum that it currently is. I think this is the minimum amount because the moment one is done, they go to that queue. So things get trickier when you have more than 1 or 2 queues for sure, because you have to know which one finished first. Yeah, this is more akin to the computer science idea of a thread pool with relation to running multiple processes at the same time. Wouldn't it be fun if we actually solved this with threads? Like, what if we used Node.js's like spawn, and we spawned some threads, and they had a particular timeout, then it would just do it for us. But I don't think we can do that on Code Wars. So let's solve this thing. Let's start up Quokka. Okay. How are we going to do this? So our input is an array of positive integers representing the queue. So this is the queue in order, and each item is the amount of time that that person is going to wait. Or that it's going to take them to check out once they get to a till or to a cashier. In a positive integer is the number of checkout tills. So the number of places where they can check out, number of cashiers. Okay. So we'll definitely need, let's take a quick stretch. It's raining outside. I don't know if you can hear that. I think we'll need to keep track of the current wait time at each of the cashiers or each of the tills. So in is going to be the number of cashiers that we have and the current wait time. Okay. I'm almost thinking we could even just do like a tick, like 1 second at a time. I feel like if we pass that, if we do it in here, then that is, well, I guess it wouldn't necessarily have to be like a set timeout. It's really literally just advancing time forward by 1, and then it would subtract the current wait time at the given cashiers. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. A place to store the current wait time at a cashier. The current wait time for each cashier. So if someone, so let's say number 1 just stepped up to a cashier, that wait time is 1 because they have to wait 1 for that person to finish. If number 2 steps up to a cashier, the wait time of that cashier is 2. And then I think we'll have some sort of just tick. So a place to store the total amount of time. And that gets initialized to 0. And then we will basically clear the queue. So given the number of cashiers, we grab that many people from the queue and put them at a cashier. So we'll say advance queue to cashiers. We'll then advance the queue to open cashiers. We will then move the total amount of time forward by 1. And then decrease the time remaining at all cashiers by 1. So now they're no longer waiting. And then we basically just repeat this. So advance the queue to the open cashiers. And if there were any open, that, I mean, in an open cashier is anything at 0. So they advance to the open cashier. The time moves forward by 1. All of the time remaining decreases by 1. And then we repeat. We repeat until we get to the end. And then we have a total amount of time. Yeah. And so let's just leave a comment. Repeat this until queue is empty. Return total amount of time. I think this is a good solution. Are there any holes in my logic? Cool. Let's catch up on the chat, see if there's anything interesting to mention. Hello, Marcos. Marcos is saying, I just got in the live and I'm doing this one too. The same Kata? It's cool. Bohan is saying, how about decreasing values in array, and if it's 0, remove it? So that's kind of what I had in mind for keeping track of the wait time for all of the cashiers. I think we're going to have an array that is the length of the number of cashiers. And it's initialized where everything is 0 because there's no wait time at all of those cashiers. And then when someone goes to that cashier, that 0 turns into the amount of wait time for that given person in the queue. I think that's kind of what you're saying. The only thing is we don't want to remove it because we still want to keep track of the cashiers, which is why I have that around. So yeah, I don't know. Let's give this a try. We're going to try it in the most basic case where there is no one in the queue. But a place to store the total amount of time. Initialized to 0. So we'll say let total time equal 0. Let's put this on the same line. A place to store the current wait time for each cashier. So what I'm thinking is we have an array that is the length of the number of cashiers. So if there are 100, then we're going to have 100 zeros here. So let's say const cashiers equals array.from. We need it to be the length of in, and then we need to fill it with zeros. So if we log cashiers, in the case where there's only one cashier, it's an array with just 0 inside of it. In the case where there is one cashier, in the case where there are 2 cashiers, and in the case where there are 100 cashiers, we have an array with zeros in it. So that one line of code is going to initialize an array where all of the cashiers have 0 wait time. They're all just waiting for the next person in the queue. So that's great. So now we need to repeat until the queue is empty. So I'll say while customers.length is greater than 0. We do all this stuff. And then after all of that, we just return total time. And it's working in the case of no customers because the wait time is 0. So that's good. Now let's try a more advanced use case where, and this is going to give me an infinite loop. Let's just put a break right there so it doesn't fail. Yeah, because currently this is an infinite loop because we're not changing the customer's array. But now we got to do this logic. So advance the queue to open cashiers, and open cashier is 0. So we'll say we'll create a variable for the next customer. And I believe it's first in, so the first one in the array is the next one in line. Let's double check that one. Double check that. Yeah, I think the first one in the array is the first one in the line. So what's the array method to remove the first value of an array? Is it shift? No, unshift? I think it's shift. Yeah, so unshift adds, we want shift, which I think removes the first item in the array. The shift method removes the first element from an array and returns the removed element. So that's what we'll do. So if we say next customer equals customers.shift, that's going to remove the first value from the array. I know that it's unreachable code. I just don't want to trigger an infinite loop. So that gives us the next customer. And then we need to advance the queue to open cashiers. So essentially, we will iterate over the array of cashiers until we find one that has 0 wait time. And actually, let's do this out. I think I want to do this outside of the loop. But I just thought of a scenario where the next customer in line can't actually go to a cashier because all of the cashiers are filled. So we don't want to shift every single time. I think first thing we want to do is find an open cashier. So let's say like find an open cashier. We'll always move the total time forward by 1. We'll decrease the time remaining at all cashiers by 1, and we keep on repeating. So find an open cashier, and then if we find an open cashier, remove first customer from queue and set at cashier. Like that. Okay, so we need to find an open cashier. So we're going to, I think we can just use the find method. So find the cashiers array, the first index where the value is 0. So we'll say cashier index, and that's going to be cashiers dot find index. We want where C is equal to 0. And then if this cashier index is not -1, so I believe find index will return -1. Actually, I think we can just do, yeah, we can do index of. Index of 0. So it'll try to find the 0 value in there. And I know for sure index of returns -1 if it can't find it. So if there is an open cashier, so I'll say if cashier index does not equal -1, then we're going to grab the next customer and move them in. We will move the total time forward by 1. So we'll say total time plus equals 1. This is still complaining. Let's just do this for now, while false. Okay, so move the total time forward by 1, and then decrease the time remaining for all cashiers by 1. So I think really we just want to iterate over cashiers and change the decrement, the each item. Technically, we could just overwrite it. We could do a map. We could say like cashiers equals cashiers dot map, and we'll say we'll have each time remaining. Well, let's just call it cashier, and we want to return cashier -1, but only if the cashier is greater than 0. So we can say like, if cashier is greater than 0, then return cashier -1, else just return 0. And if we log, well, don't have it there for now, but, and then this becomes a let because we're going to keep overwriting it every time. I mean, I guess technically we could have just modified the array, but I kind of like this map. Okay, let's handle this if statement. So if there is an open cashier, let's take a quick stretch. If there is an open cashier, remove the first customer from the queue and set at the cashier. So we'll say current customer equals customers dot shift. So that's going to remove the first customer and then advance the queue to the open cashiers. We have the cashier index, so I'm just going to say cashiers at the cashier index equals the current customer. I think this is what we want. Well, cashiers.length is greater than 0. Cashier is not defined. Did I spell cashier right? Cashier? Cashier. Cashier? I think Quokka broke because I had like an infinite loop or something spelled wrong. I feel like I'm spelling cashier wrong. Cashier. Cashier. To dismiss from an office or place of trust by annulling the commission by virtue of which it is held. One that has charge of money. Cashier. Okay, I spelled it right. Okay, what went wrong here? So, total time starts at 0. We have our cashiers, which gets initialized as a big long array of zeros. While the cashier's length is greater than 0, we're grabbing our cashier's index. We'll say cashier's index of 0. If it's not equal to -1, that means we found an index. We grab the current customer, which is cashiers, at that cashier index. Increase total time, and then decrement the cashiers. Okay, let's start up Quokka again. See if I still have an error. Seems like an infinite loop. I've broked it. I think I can just stop Quokka really quick. Okay, that stopped. I'm going to catch up on the chat. Maybe someone has noticed some weird logic in my code. Let's see. Peejoe is saying, oh dear, mine didn't work at all. Were you solving code katas? Oh, that's a good call. ATD is mentioning, I think another fun sort of challenge if you need a break from algorithms is simply recreating a website you like without the dev tools. I remember CJ doing that with the GitHub profile page. Yeah, I did that a while back. I think I put that restraint on myself. Like, I wasn't allowed to use the dev tools on the existing site to see, like, I think, like, what colors and stuff. I had to do it all manually, which is a pretty fun challenge. Okay, that's a good call. Alka is saying, I don't need to do array.from. I can just do array. It should work the same way, because when you call array with a value, it creates an empty array with all of that. But it has this weird thing where technically you can't, like, iterate over it. It doesn't have actually values in it, so you still need to fill it. ATD is asking, would the best scenario to use a while loop over a for loop if you don't know exactly how long something needs to run? Pretty much, though technically you could have you could have a for loop where the condition is kind of like a while loop, and then you just don't specify the iterator in the initialization. But yes, typically that's how I would use a while loop. Hello, Sandeep. Welcome to the stream. Bohan mentions pop. Yeah, I was thinking of pop too, but pop removes from the end of the array, whereas shift removes from the beginning. Terminal is asking what allows me to type bang mdn. So I use the DuckDuckGo search engine. DuckDuckGo, and they have bang commands. Oh, they have a new landing page. That's nice. But if you do bang, you can see all of the services that they support. And MDN is the Mozilla Developer Network. And so if you do bang that thing and then enter your search term, that will jump out to that service and search it. But I have that set as my default search engine, so I can actually do that here, because DuckDuckGo is my default. Yeah, you guys got it. Um, I don't know if it's only Chrome. It's any browser that has the search bar up at the top. It used to be in Firefox. I used to install an extension called Omnibar. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. You might actually be able to enable it in settings where you can do searches directly from the URL bar. But if you can do that in Firefox, it should work the same way. And you have DuckDuckGo as your default search engine. Peejoe is asking, this actually seems harder than a 6Q unless I'm missing something. I could just be solving it in a very weird way. There might be a more naive solution to this. I don't know. Alka's saying, I think till would be better than cashier. Cashier? That's what they call it. I feel like, isn't that the British term? Let's do it. Let's rename this. We'll use our fancy F2 rename. We'll call this tills. And we'll call this the till index. You know what? I don't like this map. Let's just change it to a for each. So we'll say tills.forEach. That's going to give us the, and technically we could use a for loop, but that's fine. That's going to give us the till wait time and the current index. And we need to say tills at that index minus equals 1. But we only do that if till is greater than 0. Yeah, so for each one, if it's greater than 0, reduce it. Oh, this is not, that's why. That's why I messed up. My while loop needs to be customers.length, not tills.length. Because the customers array is the thing that's getting smaller and smaller. My tills array always remains the same. That's the key. All right, here we go, Quokka. Yes, got it wrong. So this is giving back 7 for some reason. Let's step through it. So there's only one queue. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Should be 10. It could be that I'm decrementing too much. And maybe we increase the total time at the beginning? Yeah, so that's okay. You know what I want to run this through the debugger, so we can just step through it line by line and see what's happening. So I'm going to stop all. Let's start up the debugger. Do it with Node.js. That just ran. That's great. But let's set a breakpoint and rerun it with Node.js. Okay, we will step into the function. Customers is the array 1, 2, 3, 4. In is 1. Cool. Total time starts off as 0. Tills is now an array with just 0 inside of it because there's only one till. Customers length is 4 because there's still 4 customers in there. Okay, so we want to find the index of the till with 0. So this should give us back 0 because currently tills only has one item and it is 0. So if we look at till index, we should get 0. Cool. Next, we should get the first customer in the array, which is 1. So customers.shift should give us back 1. And then we'll say tills at 0 equals 1. So that customer is now in line. Now, if we advance time by 1, then that means that that customer is no longer in line because time has just gone forward by 1, and that means they can get out of line and the next person can get in. So total time increases by 1. Now we decrement everything, and in this case, I accidentally skipped over it, but in this case, it should have put the tills back to just an array of 0 because it was at 1, it decremented it, now it's at 0. So now we get to person number 2. The till index, again, should just be 1. Should be 0. Our current customer should end up being 2 because that's the next person in the line. And then we set that value to be 2. Time increases by 1, which means now in our tills array, it should just have the value 1 because they're going to be waiting for one more. So tills at 0. And now if we look at tills, it just has 1. Okay, the logic, it seems like it's happening. Something's going wrong, but let's see. Now, index should be -1 because there are no open tills. We increase time by 1. We then decrement, and now there should be an open till. And now our total time should be 3. Is it 3? Total time is 3, so we're good so far. Okay. Yeah, I mean, technically, if there's only one cashier, we can just sum the whole array. Like, this is like a roundabout way of doing it, but if there's only one cashier, we can just sum the array and be done. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, but I'm very curious why I'm getting the value 7. Oh! Because I'm jumping out too early. So, okay, I got it. So we don't want the while loop to end when the customer array length is gone, because they still could be at a till. That's why. So while customers.length is greater than 0, and there's still someone at a till. So we'll say like tills.sum till has a value greater than 0. So while there are still customers and while the tills still have some value greater than 0. That, I think, is going to do it. All right, let's start up Kata. Got the value 0. Oh, we only want to do this after... The thing is, when it hits it the first time, I think I'll do it inside. Or I technically could do a do while. Let's do a do while. Basically flip it on its head. So it'll check this after the loop. So do while 1. The thing is, that jumps out early because the moment we do this, all the tills go to 0. Does that want a semicolon? Cool. While the customer's length is greater than 0. Oh, not and, or. So we don't need to do while. We don't need to do while. While it's that or sum is there. Yes! We did it. Okay. So we just did a very roundabout way of summing an array, basically, for the case of one cashier. However, if there are two cashiers, it should still work, and it doesn't. Ugh. We'll figure this out. We get 10 instead of 9. Let me catch up on the chat. Yeah, I think you all caught it. I shouldn't be checking for cashier length. I should have been checking for customer length. Whole lot of chat. I need to get my chat manager thing working again, because this is not ideal. Matcha asks, is there a term for when you say a word so much that it stops making sense? I don't know, but that happens all the time in programming. Especially if you're working on a specific thing and you're just calling the same variable name over and over again. Try typing the word or seeing the word skeleton over and over again. It starts turning into like skeleton, or like it just looks alien. I don't know. But yeah, Peejoe caught it. We definitely needed to change this to customers.length greater than 0. Okay. Bohan is saying, I don't think we need an array at all. With every tick, just decrease values in an array. And if it's 0, remove element until array length equals 0. Number of ticks equals queue time. The issue, though, is we only have a certain number of cashiers. So there's either 1, 2, or there could be 100 cashiers, which essentially makes it so that we're kind of doing like parallel processing. I think that's actually the issue. In this while loop, we shouldn't advance time forward until we filled all of the available cashiers. I think that's the issue. Yeah. That's the issue, because in this case, we only grabbed the first customer when technically there was another open cashier. So really, I want this to be like a while loop. So I'll say while till index does not equal -1, and then we'll say let here, and then we'll overwrite it again. I think that should do it, because now, instead of just filling the first cashier, it fills the most possible number of cashiers instead of just 1. Yes! We got it. And the last one, yes! All right, before I catch up on the chat, I'm just going to throw it in Code Wars and see if I got it right. But basically, we just implemented a, what did they call it? A thread pool. We could build an operating system right now. We could build a runtime with this code. Let's try it. Sample tests. Those pass. Cool. Do I want to? No, I'm not going to attempt it yet, because maybe somebody has some suggestions in the chat. Yeah, and Robert caught it too. I basically, it was a typo. So I was doing tills or cashiers.length instead of customers.length, because customers is the thing that's changing. Wezen is saying, how do you start Quokka on an existing file? So if inside of VS Code, if you do Command-Shift-P, or if you're on Windows, it's Control-Shift-P, just search for Quokka, and then the one you want is start on current file. And then if you ever want to stop it, you can do stop all. Ed is saying, I thought the alien logo on your shirt was the coding garden logo at first. No, it's just an alien. And actually, for those of you that do not have ads disabled, do you see t-shirts for sale below the video? Let me know in the chat, because I just recently, like in the creator studio, there's a way of linking to Teespring. Let me know if you see t-shirts. But don't buy them. Don't buy the t-shirts. I posted them, and it had like a default price, but I then took those down and reposted them with the lowest possible profit, so you can get a t-shirt for like $11. But those listings aren't ready yet, so don't buy a t-shirt until you see that t-shirt for sale for $11. But let me know, if you don't have ads on, do you see the t-shirts for sale below? Sultan is asking, is there a reason I chose to use the function keyword and not the fat arrow syntax? And I guess you're speaking of just this function here. The main reason is because I copied and pasted the initial function that they gave me, which is like this. But the other reason is typically when I'm solving code katas, I will do it more than once in different ways. And if you define a function like this, you can actually define it multiple times with the same name. And the last one you define is the actual one that will get called. If you use a fat arrow function and store it in like a const variable, that cannot be overwritten because it's a const. I guess technically you could put it in a let and then keep overwriting it. This is just easier for me. Terminal is asking why use minus equals instead of minus minus. It's really just preference. There's actually an ESLint rule in the Airbnb ESLint that wants you to do this instead of minus minus or instead of plus plus. There's probably some good reason behind it. I've gotten in the habit of that because I do use the Airbnb style guide. Yeah. CJ the boss. I think we figured it out. And honestly, like, I think this is... It's a fairly performant solution. I'll tell you the things I don't like about this solution. The fact that we are iterating over all of the cashiers to check if they're empty every single time. We could probably speed this up if we had maybe an object keeping track of the indexes where the cashiers are not free. And we could do that because we have their current indices. And then we could override it when it's 0. So that would prevent us from iterating on every single while loop. I think we pretty much have to iterate to decrement everything. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with the solution. Let's catch up. Here we are. Yeah. Wait. So Peejoe is saying, just add the remaining minutes in the queue after customers is empty. Oh, yeah, so we don't have to keep iterating. We could literally say, like, if customer length is 0, we just take whoever's at the cashier and add it to the total time remaining, and we're done. That's true. No, Matt, I was saying, am I ready for Area 51? I'm not, and you should not be either. That's a silly thing. Eddie is saying, it's been a while since I saw someone use a do while. I guess, I mean, technically I didn't need it. This is what I needed instead. I hope... ATD is saying, I hope one day I have a quarter of the coding prowess that Alka and CJ have. Come on. You'll get there. Brandon says, this is great. Thank you, Brandon. Merchant is saying, I like ATD's suggestion to sum the remaining tills, which is better than having a loop inside the while condition. Yeah, honestly, I think we can clean this up. However, I only have about 30 minutes left. So I don't think I'm going to have enough time to do a 5Q. Let me know in the chat. Should I spend the next 30 or so minutes making this code cleaner? Or should I move on and try and solve another one? Let me know in the chat. But yes, there are a lot of things I could do to clean this up. I could prevent having to search over the array here. I could be smart about this, and instead of having to iterate once every time, I could iterate, or I could increment by like the maximum amount. The thing to think about there, though, is if you have 2 cashiers, one cashier has a customer that's waiting 4 minutes and one cashier has a customer that's waiting 3 minutes, then technically you should advance time by 3, set that to 0, and the other one should be 1, and then you increment the queue. Otherwise, you lose this idea of who's next in the queue and how much time is left. But yeah, but I like the way you all are thinking. We just add 5 to the final, but the thing to think about is who goes next in line. Don't we need to worry about that? Right? Because yes, we can add 5 to the time, but at the same time, other people in line could have gotten in line where 3 is, and then let's say a 10 got in line here. Because both a 10 and then what would be a 4 are in line, technically time only increases by 6 more than 4, not the total 10. Because if you cleared this out and only added 5, and then someone with 10 gets in line, that's not the same. I hope you all are thinking what I'm thinking. It goes to what Merchan was thinking earlier, or was saying earlier, where you're trying to clear them out as soon as possible. And it's basically working in parallel because you have multiple things all at tills at the same time. Oh, Mihai, hello Mihai, says it's called wordnesia when a familiar word starts to look weird or alien. Peejoe is saying, I followed you until that last change. Are we talking about when I added this extra while loop? And because this is the idea of like parallel processing, because when we move a customer to a till, there could be more tills open, so we actually need to like flush the entire queue to fill up all of the tills and then advance time forward by 1. Because it's not just the highest, it's all of them happening at once. I hope I'm thinking of this right, and I hope that makes sense. Andreas is asking, is there something, and hello Andreas, is there something wrong with just saying while customer length, or not at all. I just like to be a little bit explicit, but technically you could do this because this is like truthy falsy, and we should still get the right answers. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally fine. There's an interesting phenomenon with jumbled words that if the first and last letters are in the correct place, but between the letters are mixed, you're very likely to still know what the word is. Yeah, I forget what that is with their, people have like written passages of text that say like, you can understand what I'm saying here, but then like you take a second look and things are scrambled up. But yeah, that's a thing. Hello, Mark from Berlin. Everyone is saying new one, new one, new one. Okay, we'll do a new one, but now we only have like 20 minutes. Peejoe was saying, I think this one was a 5. Marcus is saying, my idea is to sort the cashiers, then get the first value, add the total time, and also use it to decrease the others in the cashiers. Sort the cashiers. Get the first value, add the total time, and then also use it to decrease the others in the cashiers. You might be on the right track, but I gotta keep moving. This was a fun one. There's a ton of stuff I could have done to this to make it better, but yeah, let's try to do another one. And we only have 20 minutes, so maybe we'll choose a another 6Q instead of... Do I still have that poll? This might be something totally random. Help. I think that was actually a straw poll from when Coding Train was on streaming a while back. I'm gonna go back to the poll and see what was the other highest voted 6Q. They only have a couple of votes. The wave, count the characters in a string. You know what? You're all probably gonna be very disappointed. But let's do 2. I bet I can do that. Count the characters in a string fairly quickly because I mentioned I've done it before, and then weird string case, which should also be a fun challenge. Let's do both of those in 20 minutes, and then I gotta go. Yeah, and I mean, I think I missed quite a few messages. But this is not ideal. Yeah, I don't think your messages were removed, Bohan. There's a lot of moderating going on because I mean there's a lot of chats happening, but yeah. Okay, count the characters in your string. You're given a string. You need to return an object where all of the keys are the letters and all of the values are numbers. So this is the classic. This is like when you go to see a music artist and they're playing like a greatest hit. That's what's about to happen here. We're about to do Code Kata's greatest hits, count the characters in a string. Actually, did I do a final submission on that other one? I think I did. Oh well. Okay, so we have our function count. We have this. Does anyone see t-shirts below, or does everyone have an ad blocker on? If you have an ad blocker on, that's totally fine. I do not mind at all. But let me know, do you see t-shirts below? Okay. Let's do it. So what we need is we need an object to build up. So an object to store the counts. We then need to iterate over the letters in the string. We'll then say in here, if the current letter is not a property in the object, set it to 0, and then increment the current letter in the object by 1. That's what we need to do. So an object to store the counts. So let's call this counts. We iterate over the letters in the string. We could do string.split, which turns it into an array. And then we could use like for each. You know what, like while we're here, let's just do it as a for loop. And then we'll do this as a reduce. So we have an index. We're iterating over string.length. And then letter is going to be string at I. If the current letter is not a property in the object, set it to 0. So the way we can do that is we can say counts at letter equals counts at letter, or 0. So if it's already there, keep it the same. Otherwise, add it to the object and set it to 0. And then we can just increment it by 1. Ultimately, we return all of the counts. If we start up Quokka, got that right. So A2B1, A2B1, empty object, beautiful. Let's do this with a reduce. So ultimately, what we want to return is the string reduced. So I'm going to do array.prototype.call reduce. We're going to call reduce on the string, and then that's going to give us our reducer function. We're going to be reducing to our accumulator is called counts, and we get access to each letter. And then our initial value of the accumulator is an object. So when you're converting something to a reduce, whatever your variable is here, that's going to be your initial value in the reduce. And then inside of here, the logic pretty much is exactly the same. So we can do that. And then we just need to return counts. Cannot read property reduce of undefined. Reduce dot, I got this wrong. Array.prototype.reduce.call. And that works too. Cool. The other way to do this is to split the string before you call, to be able to call reduce. But doing it this way with the array prototype reduce call, it prevents you from having to iterate the string to split it up into an array first. But technically we could have done string.split .reduce, because that turns it into an array, and then it has a reduce method on it. ABA is not a function. Oh, wait, what? String.split should turn it into an array, and then we should be able to call reduce. Oh, and then I don't need that. I need to do that. Cool. All right. Great. CJ's greatest hits. count the letters in a string. The one that I prefer is probably this one. Let's submit it on Code Wars and see what happens. See if we did it right. Sample tests. Got those. Will it work with a full attempt? Yes, it does. Yay! CJ's greatest hits. All right. Let's catch up on the chat. I ranked up. I have ranked up to a 3Q in JavaScript. Nice. Nice. Hello, Ryu. Welcome to the stream. Peejoe saying no ad block, no t-shirts. Okay, that's fine. It could be that because I removed those higher priced items, it's going to take a day or so before the lower priced items start showing up. But pretty soon, you'll have t-shirts. I actually ordered some samples, so I'll wear them on stream. Peejoe saying only joggers? Like shoes? Or sweatpants? Sultan says, real coders pay for YouTube Red. We don't have time for commercials to copy and paste. I think the Teespring, the t-shirts will show up even if you have YouTube Red. Because technically they're not like a inserted advertisement, they're like an advertisement of the channel itself. I don't know. ATD is saying, have y'all found these coding challenges to really help in technical interviews? I seem to always bounce back and forth between feeling confident and defeated when working on them. I think that's really just life, and that's how you'll feel in you'll feel working on coding challenges. You'll feel going to interviews. It's just the more you do it, the more comfortable you get at it. So that way, when you're in an interview environment, it's a little less stressful. You can kind of just go into automatic mode and start solving like you would at home. But yeah, it's always hard. Yeah, Alka is mentioning we can just do array.reduce.call. Basically, what that does is instead of calling the reduce from the prototype, we're creating an instance of an array which has the array prototype function on it, and then just calling call from there. And that should work in the same way. Cool. And then Alka's got the famous one-liner. Cool. Yeah, I'll make an announcement when the t-shirts are totally available. And honestly, you might just wait until I get mine in the mail so you can see what it looks like, because I might have to adjust the sizing of the image and stuff like that, but I'll let you know. All right, I really only have like 10 minutes left. Let's do the weird string case. Wait, did I submit that one? Yeah, I submitted it. Cool. Weird string case. So we convert all even indices to uppercase and all odd indices to lowercase. We can do this. Oh, I should have posted that link. Weird string case. This is the Q one. I need to find the link. I'll definitely find the link before I push this stuff up to GitHub. Okay, so the one we're working on is not there yet. So we need to create a file called weird string case. Grab a function. We'll have our test cases. Should return the correct value for multiple words. This is where it could get tricky, because does it treat the space as an actual letter, or does it treat the space as a non-existent letter, and then the next thing behaves as the index? So if we have capital T, lowercase h, capital I, lowercase s, capital space, oh, nope, you ignore the spaces. So if it's a space, it doesn't count in terms of indices. That's a really weird rule, because then that doesn't line up with even indexed characters. I don't like it, but we can still solve it. Okay, so I have 8 minutes. Let's just try to solve this without writing the comments. I hate that it always gets to that. It's like the further we get into the episode, we're just trying to write code rather than like taking our time. But regardless, okay, we're going to return string dot split. I mean, I just talked about this a second ago, but we're going to use that. And then we're going to reduce. We're going to have our weird case sentence as our accumulator. And then we're going to have each letter. We're also going to have the index, but as far as I can tell, that it's not the index. It's the index of the letter excluding spaces, so it's not actually the index. But yeah, so we're going to ignore that. And I think we're just going to have an extra variable. So ultimately, we're reducing to a string. And I want a variable called like is uppercase that starts off as true. And then we're going to flip that back and forth. What does this say? Yeah, so is uppercase starts off as true, and then we flop it back and forth. So ultimately, our accumulator is going to flip-flop is uppercase. We'll wait for that. So the first thing we need to do is say, like, if letter does not equal a space, then we are going to append that letter to weird case. So if it's not a space, and then if is uppercase, we're going to say weird case plus equals letter dot to uppercase. Else, we're going to say weird case plus equals letter dot to lowercase. Cool. And then the last thing we do is return weird case. However, every time we have something that is not a space, we flip it afterwards. So we'll say is uppercase equals not is uppercase. There we go. Start it. That works. That works. And this works, but we need to have the else statement that appends a space because we're leaving out the spaces. If letter does not equal space, else weird case plus equals space. So then we have this is oh, I got it wrong. This is and then the T needs to be a capital T. Oh, no. Weird. Oh, this is so weird. After a space, uppercase is always true. So is uppercase equals true. Always. Always after a space. That's some tricky logic. Tricky logic. Okay, we got it. We could do this a lot cleaner. So instead of all these like plus equals, we can like let's try to do it without adding a bunch of times and return multiple times. So if it is uppercase, we're going to return weird case plus the letter. Otherwise, we're going to return weird case plus the letter 2 lowercase, and we flip it every time right before we go back around. And here we're going to return weird case plus the string, and then we never need to return that because we're always returning it. And this should still work. This is a test. Yeah, cool. I guess the other thing is technically we could turn this into like a ternary, like weird case plus ternary that decides if it's 2 uppercase or 2 lowercase. Let's do that because we have 4 minutes. So we'll say return. So we always flip it. Well, we don't flip it. Oh, that gets trickier. We don't want to flip it until we've actually added it to the word. I don't know. I think I'm happy with this. Let's see if anyone in the chat has other suggestions for how to solve it. Yeah, Alka is saying, yeah, it's each word. It's not every. Yeah, so that's weird. Like we've solved it. We've accounted for those edge cases, but it's a bad description. Yeah, we're talking about getting better at coding, interviewing. This is all good stuff. Ed says, just watch as if you were CJ's manager, and at the end, go, good work, CJ, we did it. That happens all the time. I do all the work, and then they're like, we did it. No, I'm just kidding. It's never a one-man show. It never can be. Like, I cannot do what I do alone in anything. We need people. We need humans, interaction, collaboration. That's how the world keeps moving. Cool. Alka saying, it's weird casing each word, not the whole string. Yeah, I think I figured that out. I guess which Steven are we talking about? May not have heard of him. Doesn't matter because I'm low on time. ATD, wait. Oh, okay, cool. All right, we did it. I'm going to submit this one on Code Wars and see if we got it right. Let's see. Sample tests. That passed. We'll do an attempt. First try. Okay. All right. Submit final, and then I gotta go. But thanks everyone for tuning in. This was super fun. Yeah, what's happening? I'm probably gonna stream on Saturday morning. Might do a morning tea for all the people that can't normally tune in this late. So keep an eye on the channel. I have more feathers videos upcoming. So if you've been paying attention to the channel, I have uploaded a bunch of videos that were edited videos from the longer Feathers live streams that I did. I apologize if you got like 3 push notifications, but I am publishing these videos kind of like as a group. But that'll end soon. Most of those videos will be uploaded, and then I have just a couple more to record, so I'll be doing that at some point as well. But yeah, this is super fun. All of the code I wrote, I'm going to push up to GitHub. The link will be in the description. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right, everyone. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Until then, here's this new outro intro thing I made. Enjoy.